Welcome back to beautiful Newport Beach, California. Dave Ben, Sam Query, happy to have you on board as this Thursday of pickleball action has descended upon the tennis club at Newport Beach, the PPA Takeya Showcase. And we know much of the country, it is not balmy and sunny and warm, so we hope you're being warmed up by watching some of these players play on Championship Court, one of 39 courts at this fantastic facility in Southern California. And we've reached the first of two women's semifinals. Catherine Parenteau and Mary Brascia are going to play the 1 seed and the 4 seed. Parenteau, 27 years old, and Brascia, just 22 years old. She's coming up on her 23rd birthday, which will be just a couple weeks from now in early December, and she'd sure love to celebrate with a victory in Newport Beach. She is someone who calls California home, so in some ways this is a home court for her. See if she can take advantage of that, Sam.
Yeah, and Catherine's coming off a bit of controversy last week. She was playing with Alice Jones, dropped her partner in doubles about 12 hours before the event, played with Anna Lee, won, and kind of left Alice without a partner. So we'll see if that's still on her mind or if she's recovered. She gave an apology, but you know, obviously she's playing well here and into the semifinals.
And there's a look at what we talked about with the 39 other courts, and there's just a ton of action going on in Newport Beach in all the divisions. And you know, it's just so great to see all these tournaments just get filled up and just so much great action no matter what court you're watching. And so we are underway here, and Brascia is in the near court
0-0,
wearing the black, and Parenteau in the far court with the white hat.
point,
And Brascia able to get the first point as Parenteau hits it long.
1-0,
Both Brascia and Parenteau with tennis backgrounds. Brascia played at Biola University of California for her tennis career.
0-1,
Meantime, University of Arkansas, and then a transfer to Michigan State for Catherine Parenteau as she hits it into the net. And that story's been well told. Parenteau got introduced to pickleball by her former tennis coach at Michigan State, one Simone Jardim.
1-0,
By the way, the ref for this match is Howard Simon.
0-1,
Thanks to Melissa McCurley from pickleballtournaments.com, passing along that information.
point,
You wonder how one gets into reffing for a pickleball tournament. As a new sport, you know, it hasn't been around, so I'm sure they're having to kind of learn about it themselves and get educated and go out and call some smaller events and work their way up to some of these PPAs. But it's
side out,
a journey that the refs kind of have to take along with the players.
Well, and a lot of the officials at a lot of tournaments are volunteers, and you know, we tip our cap to the volunteers at all levels of the sports who help make these tournaments happen.
point,
Nice shot there by Brascia. So you got to go through and get certified, and once you reach your certification level, then you can ref some of the pro matches.
All right.
I'm sure Don Stanley would be able to enlighten some people on that entire path.
2-1.
I did love, by the way, Tyson just, you know, saying he's going to go talk to Don Stanley.
side out,
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully he can get that rule changed because I'm sure he's in the majority with that mindset.
I don't think there's
1-2.
any player out there, pro or otherwise, that would say, you know what, that's a good rule.
No, totally agree, and Don's got to make that change, and he should make it starting tomorrow.
Side
Don't
out.
wait till this tournament ends. Make the rule right away.
So Brascia gets the serve back here
2-1,
with the 2-1 lead. And a nice shot from that baseline. That's not easy to do.
No, this is pickleball. It's tough to hit passing shots in pickleball, and Brascia made that one look pretty easy.
Brascia, who went viral with one of the shots she hit in the MLP, and if you type her name into Google, it'll be the first thing that comes up, behind the head.
It was an amazing shot, and like you said, if you go into Google, YouTube, Instagram, that'll come up right away. It was a behind the back or behind the head.
1-3.
And people started calling it the merry-go-round, but it's an incredible reactionary shot that if you've got 10 seconds, go check it out.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And she's not been playing pickleball very long, Mary Brascia. She started playing like so many people during the pandemic, during the lockdown. Her sister Maggie said, hey, let's go purchase a pickleball net and make a court in the street. And that's what they did. And then she was hooked.
Yeah, and it is one of those sports where I feel like you can get really good,
3-3.
In a 2-year period. I'm not saying that's a short time, but maybe compared to tennis or some other sports. But because it's such a new sport, you can kind of rise to the top of the game relatively quickly right now, and that's going to change as the sport continues to grow and more players are playing. But like we're seeing a lot of these girls and guys pick the sport up 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and now they're some of the top people in the sport.
Well, you and I talked about it earlier too. It's like, not everybody's got aspirations to be a pro player in pickleball, but you go and you can play for 15 minutes and you can feel like, hey, okay, I'm not embarrassing myself out here, and it's like I'm having fun.
Absolutely, and tonight they've got, I believe it's on CBS, there's like a celebrity
Stephen Colbert
pickleball event, and you're going to see the celebrities playing because they can kind of play. You're never going to see a celebrity football event or baseball event because you can't go out and pick up those sports right away. But this is a sport you can go out as an amateur, as someone the first time going out there, and keep a rally going, and that's a really fulfilling kind of place to be as a person when I've never played a sport and you go out there like, oh, you know what, day one I can kind of figure this out.
Parenteau trying to see if she can climb out of this modest hole, but instead Brascia's going to get the serve right back.
Side out.
The other great thing is, that with pickleball, it's the initial investment is not that high. I mean, you could spend obviously a lot of money on getting the right paddle if you want, but you could get your basic starter kit paddle and go play for hours and hours and days and months with the same gear, and you don't have to worry about paying greens fees. You're not losing any balls.
Right, just get any paddle you can, pretty much go to any park in your neighborhood, and there's going to be a pickleball court and people playing.
Tell you what, Brascia is impressive so far against Parenteau. So 5-3. She's able to catch up to that one, but then Catherine finally puts it away with the backhand.
Point.
And the point for Parenteau gets it back to just a 1-point game here in game one.
4-5. Point.
Great down the line passing shot there from Parenteau.
Love the reaction.
5-5.
Just does catch the line. And another great passing shot by Parenteau. She's found her groove now.
Timeout receiver. 6-5.
Nice angle there. And Brascia's going to use the timeout as Parenteau now is starting to build some momentum. Up 6-5 in game one. Welcome back to Newport Beach, California. Dave Ben, Sam Querrey. Happy to have you on board for the Takeya PPA Championships in Newport Beach. Catherine Parenteau with the momentum. Brascia uses the timeout to try to see if she can stem the tide a little bit. And a great shot there. Brascia last week in Indian Wells in the singles did not win a single game. Parenteau down the line. She'll get the serve right back.
Parenteau seems to be finding her form a bit here. That's 3 passing shots from her in the last 4 or 5 points.
Side out.
And that serve misses, so the side out gets it back over to Brascia. You feel like
5,
Brascia's
6.
got to win this first game to have a chance of upsetting Catherine in this match. And we did talk earlier that no Annalie Waters this week in Newport Beach. So that really does open things up in the women's division, as well as in the women's doubles division and the mixed doubles division.
Any division that Annalie Waters is playing in, you know, she's most likely the favorite in that division. So like we kind of said earlier, when the fact that she's on here opens the door for some of these other players.
6, 5. Side out.
The side out will get it back over to Brascia.
Five, 6. Point.
And into the net, so we're knotted again here at 6.
6, 6.
Brascia, a native of Dayton, Ohio, before relocating to California. Parenteau originally from Montreal.
Side out.
Now makes her home in Florida.
Do they have any PPA events in Canada yet?
6, 6.
I do not believe there has been an official PPA event in Canada, but there is one scheduled for next year in Toronto.
Okay, got our first one.
I'd love to
7,
see.
6.
Toronto's a great city. Been there many times. Montreal's fantastic.
Yeah, like I said, we had tennis events in Toronto and Montreal. They're both great cities. We'll see. Maybe they'll move it kind of like the tennis tour did. Maybe 1 year Toronto, maybe 1 year Montreal for the pickleball. We'll see which city embraces it more.
Yeah, Montreal in the summer down by the waterfront. Man, that is just so gorgeous.
8, 6. Point.
And that does catch the line. So Parenteau now 2 points away from taking
9,
game 1.
6. Point.
And now game point number
Timeout
1 for
receiver.
Parenteau.
10,
We're
6.
actually going to use her second timeout.
Yeah, it's a wise decision to use the timeout. You don't get the advantage of being able to go over and adjust the strings on your paddle the way you do in tennis, Sam. You got to use a timeout.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, World Team Tennis, that was the only kind of tennis event where you got timeouts. So it was kind of fun. But you know, it's fun to see it here in pickleball. There's very few sports where the player's in charge of calling the timeout. You always see the coaches call it. And so this is one of the few times where, as a player, you need to make the decision. Should I call the timeout now? Should I try to get out of this hole and save the timeout? You kind of got to, you know, have multiple options running through your head of when to use them.
Yeah, and I mentioned the Press Box Party podcast that I recorded yesterday with Ben Johns. We'll drop it next Tuesday. We talked to him about timeouts. He never takes timeouts. And he said he doesn't like taking timeouts because it feels like it's a sign of weakness.
10,
Yeah,
6.
you know, look, my friends and I joke about that too. Sometimes I think the timeout's a bad look. You know, next year when I'm playing,
Point game.
I'm assuming I'm never going to take a timeout just because optically I agree with Ben. I think it kind of looks weak, but we'll see what happens.
Nothing weak about Catherine Parenteau on game point as she puts it right down the line. And she takes game 1 11-6. So Parenteau 1 game away from moving on to Championship Sunday. We'll have game number 2 of this semifinal coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the Takeya Showcase on the PPA Tour from Newport Beach, California. Back in Newport Beach, California, Mary Brascia, she had some momentum there in game one, but then Catherine Parenteau took off the warm-up, and it was pretty much all she wrote. Catherine found her groove, and now she's got the 1-game-to-none lead in this best 2 games out of 3. As they switch sides of the court, Parenteau hits it wide. Melissa McCurley texting me during the timeout, wanting to know what podcast I keep referencing. It's called the Press Box Party. And it's, again, we recorded with Ben and his sister Hannah yesterday, and we will drop it next Tuesday. So if you want to be on the lookout for that, that'd be great. And Parenteau couldn't catch up to that one. And how about Brascia getting out of the gates here in very definitive fashion and much needed fashion here, Sam?
Definitely. I think the first set she was up 4-1. Parenteau kind of went on a roll there, took it 11-6. So Brascia needed to get some momentum back. She's done that.
Parenteau working the angles there, kept Brascia back and takes advantage.
Zero, 2. Side out.
Side out, I'll get it back over to Mary Brascia. The other half of this bracket, Salome Davidze and Leah Jansen will play in the other semifinal for a chance to get to Championship Sunday. Oh, what a shot by Mary.
We saw a little bit of everything at that point. Offense, defense, then finally great inside-out backhand for the winner.
3-0.
So 3-0, the early lead here for Brascia. Catherine able to get up to the kitchen line, but then puts it into the net.
Timeout, receiver, 4-0.
So timeout is going to be taken here by Catherine Parenteau. And gotta like the start for Mary Brascia, as she's got a 4-0 lead here in game 2. Mary Brascia showing signs of life here in game 2 against Catherine Parenteau, as we finish off day 1 of this pro action in Newport Beach. Tomorrow, the bracket will turn to the pro mixed doubles division. And then Saturday, we'll have the men's and women's doubles before Championship Sunday. Hands out all the hardware in the final day of the event. And Brascia just continuing to pile it on right now.
She can do no wrong in this second set.
6-0.
She cuts the line twice. Well, one of those was out. I'm not sure if it was the first one or the second one. I thought I heard Catherine say the first one was out, but then she hit it anyway, and Mary returned it. The second one must have been wide as well, or as well, and/or one of those.
I think Parenteau had to call one out regardless, just to try to stop the momentum there from Brascia.
Yeah, but Brascia is just going to get the serve right back.
6-0.
You know, it is amazing. We talked about it, right? How quickly you can ascend in pickleball. Now, granted, Mary Brascia, she played collegiate tennis, so she's had a racket or you know, something in her hand playing a sport similar to this for a long time.
7-0.
But to go from, I'm just going to play pickleball in my driveway during the pandemic, to being here playing on the pro tour in such a short period of time, it is amazing.
Yeah, and on the men's side, is it James Ignatic played at Vanderbilt college tennis, and he picked up pickleball. I'm not 100% sure how long ago, but maybe a year ago in the MLP last year was kind of an unknown
0-7.
draft and became one of the best players.
Yeah, it's so fun. Man, Brascia had Parenteau running all over the place, then puts it away.
Stay down.
I did not see this coming. I didn't rule out Mary being able to rally and come back in this match, but she's dominating right now in game 2.
No, I don't think either of us. I don't think anyone saw this coming. She still needs 4 more points though, so this isn't over. And as we've said before, that last point's always very difficult.
Catherine finally gets the serve back, so she's going to try to get this bagel off the scoreboard.
0-7. Point.
And Mary was trying to paint it down the line. Instead, she hits the post.
One 7. Side out.
And it's going to be deep, so Parenteau able to get a breadstick on the board, but not much more.
7-1.
And Catherine will get the serve back.
Sometimes in a game like this, and similar to tennis, if you were losing a set by a lot, or here you're losing a game by a lot, you can, you kind of start looking ahead to the third game. But you want to go into that third game with some momentum. So even if you're Parenteau here and you lose this set, you want to try to make it competitive. So you're going into that third game with some momentum, saying, hey, you know what? I kind of started to turn things around, and I picked it up that second set, and I can carry that into the third.
You're 100% right, but in this particular instance, I don't think Catherine wants to go to a third game yet. She's not there. She's like, all right, I've got 2 points now on the board.
And that first game, she had a moment there where she reeled off 6-7 points in a row.
Right.
And so she's probably thinking, why can't I do that again and tie this up?
Although Brascia does get the serve back again now.
7-2.
Parenteau able to get up to the kitchen line.
That's
And the backhand right into the corner.
Side out.
Brascia's going to slowly walk to this ball to give herself a little bit of extra time to catch her breath.
Yeah, she's still got the big lead, but you can feel like maybe the momentum's starting to go a little bit towards
2-7.
Parenteau, especially if Catherine can get a point or two here on this service opportunity and tighten this thing up further. Yep, but instead, Brascia's going to get it back.
Side out. Seven, 2.
Oh,
Side
Kind
out.
of wrong-footed Brascia there and hit a great backhand passing shot up the line.
yeah, Brascia couldn't recover.
2,
The game's
7.
so fast sometimes in singles. You know, if you're at the net and someone's hitting a passing shot, it's hard to stand up there and react to it, where you kind of have to lean and almost pick a side sometimes and hope that you guessed right to make the play.
Brascia going to get the serve back again. She's been stuck on 7 here for a while.
Good news for her is Parenteau's been stuck on 2 for a while, so no harm, no foul in either direction.
7, 2.
I mentioned Howard Simon, the lead ref here. Edward Nielsen is the second ref for this match.
Side
And
out.
Parenteau puts that one into the corner.
Timeout receiver.
And
2,
so
7.
timeout going to be taken. Brascia's got the lead, but she's been stuck on 7 for quite a while, and she's going to take a second here to try and regroup. And that's going to be frustrating when you're sitting there and not able to take advantage of having a big lead. We'll see if Parenteau can climb further back into it on the other side of this timeout. Mary Brascia on your left, Catherine Parenteau on your right. You basically got Florida against California here, even though neither one of them is originally from there.
Time is in. 7-2. I'm sorry. 2-7.
Catherine correcting the official as he said it was 7-2, and Catherine said no, it's 2-7, but now it's 3-7. Parenteau had to climb out of a hole in game one. She's trying to climb out of a bigger hole here in game two, and she's inched her way back even further. Trailed 7-0. Now it's 4-7.
Yeah, even though she's down 3 points here, it feels like all the momentum is with Parenteau right now.
Point.
And make it another point.
5-7.
5-7. I believe Catherine called that out.
Yeah, it looked out for me. I think she just missed
Yes,
it.
the ball is out. Point.
You know, and I don't know your feeling on it. Clearly it's out, but when I play against my 14-year-old son, he'll be like, well, you hit it.
Exactly. Look, it's tough to call your own lines in this game. You know, same with tennis. You know, if I had it my way, I'd want the umpire to just call every line, and you know they're going to miss some here and there, but it's going to go in both directions.
How about the reaction out of Catherine there as she's reeled off 7 straight points.
And another timeout from Brascia there, I believe, which is smart from her. She's got to stop the bleeding somehow.
It's her second and final timeout, and if you're Mary Brascia, you got to feel like, man, wasted opportunities, as she had at one point a 2 or 3 point lead in game one and let Catherine come back, and then now had a 7-0 lead in game two.
Yeah, and that's, if she goes on, if Brascia goes on to lose this game, it's hard not to think about that tomorrow when you say, you know what, first game I was up 4-1, second game I was up 7-0, and I lost them both.
Well, Catherine Parenteau's been here before. You know, she doesn't get, we talked about, I don't know if we talked about it on the air or off the air, but she doesn't get the spotlight necessarily that Annalie Waters gets. But you talk about, if you take Annalie out of the equation, who is the second best pro women's player right now? Certainly, there's no question Catherine is very much in the conversation for that moniker.
Absolutely, and you've seen it here, especially these, I was going to say last 7 points, now last 8 points. She's playing at a very high level, and this is a level that can beat Annalie.
Catches the line there, and then into the net, and that's going to take it to 9-7. Parenteau.
That's great touch from Parenteau.
It's going to take us to match point. By the way, I am checking right now the official PPA Tour rankings on the women's side. It is Annalie #1. Catherine is #2. There's a pretty wide margin. Leah Jansen right there at 3. Kelly Smith at 4.
There it is, 11 points in a row.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable performance by Catherine Parenteau. She's down 7-0. She was not thinking, I'm going to build momentum and get to take that into game 3. She said, I'm just going to come back and take game 2.
And she did it in extraordinary fashion, reeling off the last 11 points of that set.
And there are those rankings that we were talking about. We will see the woman who is number 3 as well as the woman who is number 5. We've got Davidze and Jansen coming up in the other women's semifinal. But we're going to hear some interviews after this timeout.
Welcome back, everyone, to Championship Court. Catherine Parenteau here with me, and what a match that we just witnessed. Mary Brascia has so many tools in her disposal. She's got great ground strokes, flying backhand overheads. How did you pull this off?
Yeah, I had to adjust for sure. I mean, she's a great player. I knew that she had some amazing wins in the past, and I've never played her before, so I wasn't too sure what to expect. And she came out and was just playing very well. I caught a few timeouts. I think that really helped me to kind of just, I was just like, I'm playing great. She's all over the court. But yeah, I was happy to get the W in 2 games for sure.
Well, you went down in game 2, I think 7-1. What did you tell yourself at that point? Did your team contribute to pulling yourself out of that hole?
Yeah, actually, I went to talk to them. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? I feel like I'm playing amazing, but she's just hitting everything back. And they're like, yeah, just keep it up. I mean, you never know. Maybe she's going to stop just hitting amazing shots at one point. So I just kept going and fighting.
Well, as we near the end of the year, we have 2 more tournaments in this calendar year. You look back over what you've accomplished throughout this year. Anything stick out to you?
I would probably say winning the Triple Crown in Charlotte in North Carolina. I think that was in May. That's probably one of my favorite moments of the year.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing what you can do on Championship Sunday. Catherine, congratulations. Dave, over to you.
Thank you, Hannah. And who will she play on Sunday for the women's gold medal? We will find out. It will either be Leah Jansen or Salome Davidze, the 2 and 3 sides. And again, just like on the men's side, Sam, the chalk has carried so far on the women's side in Newport Beach.
Yeah, you rarely see upsets in pickleball right now. It does seem like the cream of the crop rises to the occasion at all these events, and you're getting the best players week in, week out, and we'll see if we got the 1 versus the 2 on Sunday.
Although, as we mentioned, no Annalie Waters this week, no Jessie Irvin this week. So, I mean, there's a couple of big names. No Callie Smith here this week either. So, I mean, a couple of big names atop those rankings that made some openings possible for some of these ladies.
Right, exactly. And like we alluded to earlier, they're not going to admit that, but they're happy those girls aren't in this draw. They want a chance to win it. They want an easier road to the final, and that's what they've gotten.
Yeah, competitively, you want to be able to say you beat the best, but you know what? The trophy case doesn't say, oh, I won a gold and Annalie wasn't there. It just says,
exactly.
Here's a gold medal.
Here's a gold.
Oh, it should be fun, and we are going to be getting action underway in just a few moments as we continue on from Newport Beach after this timeout.